Happy holidays. I'm Christopher Long, and this is the 2024 edition of my super fun podcast, Face to Face. It's where I travel around the country, connecting and hanging out with some of the most fascinating artists on today's pop culture scene. And in this holiday Christmas edition, I've traveled all the way back from Oklahoma to Florida, sunny East Coast, Brevard County, Florida, to hang out and spend some time with my absolute favorite current singer-songwriter, the one and only Miss Lexi Long. Hi, Lexi.
Hi. We're making cookies today.
It's Christmas
Sugar
time,
cookies.
and we're making cookies at Christmas time.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Tell me about the process that's going on. Is this a secret family recipe?
It is the secret internet first Google response recipe.
What kind of cookies are we making other than being Christmas cookies?
Sugar with a little bit of green and red mini M&Ms.
So we're in the holiday spirit here. It's December. Today is December 6th. We are fully into the holiday season, and I thought it would be fun if we got together and bake some cookies. What are your favorite Christmas cookies?
Christmas cookies would have to be this, because not always a cookie person, but when you bake them and you eat them right away, they're always good. So these are my favorite right now.
You can't hate a Christmas cookie. Only an animal would hate a Christmas cookie. And an even worse person would hate a warm, moist, chewy Christmas cookie right out of the oven. And we're going to have that today, right?
Yes.
Excellent.
Indeed.
I wanted to come down here and talk to you today because I've been so excited about your new album that you just put out. And I brought my copy all the way from Oklahoma, my very own copy of Lexi Long's debut full-length album, Sunswept. And it is amazing for so many reasons, Lexi. A, your songs are beautiful. Your storytelling hits me in the heart every time. And the songs and the production are just superb on this. But also, you're one of the young people, yet you are still cool enough to know the value of putting your record out on vinyl. And here we go, Lexi's record, Sunswept, and it is only available on vinyl?
For the time being. You can get it on Bandcamp, and you can buy it on Bandcamp, which is practically a donation to me, because I don't know how many people listen to stuff on Bandcamp these days, but it's certainly a way to give back to the artist. But Spotify, Apple Music, all of that is on the back burner. I'm not involved in that right now.
So your passion is vinyl. Why don't you tell us about that a little bit? You're one of the young artists. What is it that speaks to you about vinyl? What is it that made you realize that your kind of music needed, your artistry needed to be consumed in the vinyl format?
When I was a teenager, I was lucky enough to get records given to me. When I would play ukulele and do those little creative things, people said, you remind me of this person and whatnot, or you would like this person. So they would give me records, and then I ended up getting a record player. They just saw that vibe or that correlation, I guess. But
so as you're growing up and developing as an artist yourself, you were inspired by the encouragement offered to you through others.
Nice people, yes.
And it exploded within your artistic soul, and you knew then that that is the way you wanted to present and produce your own music.
It was inspired by when I ended up deciding to make a record in my mid to late 20s. The engineer said, well, I thought I was going to do CDs. I'll just give out CDs. I don't even need to sell them, whatever. But he told me I need to sell good merch, which turned out to be the record was the best merch. So it brought me back to the vinyl days of present tense, but you know.
Can we talk about that then when you talk about your engineer, your producer? Can we talk about where you recorded this and whose studio and who that talented guy was who discovered the same things in you and your music as so many of us others are discovering about you and your music. What is that story about?
Well, it all boils down to just circumstance where my husband was doing a plumbing job, 'cause he's a plumber, at somebody's house, and he turned out to be the owner of a local music store, Wickham Road Music. Jared mentioned that I was looking for just a bassist, somebody to just play with me. I never played my songs with anybody who wanted to learn them for longer periods of
Jared's
time.
your husband,
Uh-huh.
and Wickham Road Music is in Melbourne, Florida.
Yeah.
Just to clarify for all of our international viewers. Go
Yes,
ahead.
but he mentioned to them, probably while he was bent under their sink, that my wife's a singer and she's looking for a bassist, and he told me to just call the store up. But it turns out the bassist of the store also had Wingman Studios, this in-home recording studio. So,
That's the studio you recorded your record, Sunswept.
correct.
What is his name?
Pete Balchunas.
Excellent. So
It's
you
on
met
the back of this.
you met
Gave the
Pete through this crazy turn of events when your husband is doing plumbing in somebody's house.
Right.
So now we meet Pete and you go to his studio, also in Melbourne, Florida.
Right.
What was that experience like?
I thought that I could self-produce an album in my house with a couple crappy microphones and a tiny interface. So I thought I was hot stuff and I could just give him my audio files and he could help me make them into a mastered song. But he told me pretty quickly that I need to get in the studio and do it properly. So only one of my babies from this house survived and the rest was done properly, as he would call it.
All your songs. You wrote there's 10 songs on this record.
Right.
You wrote them all.
Yes.
And you are doing primarily, we don't want to take away from anybody's talent, but you are doing a tremendous share of heavy lifting on here in terms of all your vocals, and you played all the guitar, piano. Tell me about your other...
Random instruments? No.
That's great. And there's a whistling track. You did the whistling on this as well. What other roles did Pete play in this record? He is your engineer.
Right.
He owns the studio.
Right.
He produced the record. The production is beautiful on this, by the way. Your record,
Thank
you
you.
should be very proud of. This, Lexi Long's Sunswept, it is a beautiful, world-class, beautifully produced record. And not just in terms of what you've brought to it and your songwriting and storytelling, but what Pete has done in bringing that to its best possible results. What else did Pete add to the record, and who else was involved in the record?
So I needed to rely on session musicians that Pete knew, which turned out to be Brian Gardner, who was a drummer, who I met through his studio, and I just booked a day to do my song, and he was going to learn my song all in one go, and he just did that about 5 or 6 times for me. So musician-wise, he introduced me to more people. Pete played bass on some songs technically don't have bass. Maybe one doesn't, I don't even remember, but yeah, he plays bass on all the songs, almost all the songs that needed bass. And he inspired me production-wise. I didn't want to say it was produced by just me, because he inspired me to add certain instruments and
All done in-house at Pete's Wingman Studios.
correct.
Want to make sure we got that out clearly. Now I see you are wearing a Steely Dan t-shirt today. Are you a Steely Dan fan?
No, I hate him. I'm a poser.
You're a liar.
But the Spotify Wrapped did say they were my #1, because when I was making the album, I was very inspired by how pure they made their records in the 70s, and I wanted to...
The cookie
Do
process is plugging along here.
Yes, we are preheated, but not ingredients.
Well, while you whip up your batter, as the kids say, who are some of your influences? When I listen to this record, when I listen to your album Sunswept by Lexi Long, when I'm consuming your stories, your melodies, and your music, I hear so much because I'm 9,000 years older than you. So I recognize the different elements of some of the classic singer-songwriters from the 60s, early 70s, elements that people of my age would recognize, but yet I'm shocked that they influence your music. So who would some of those artists be? When I'm listening to this record, Sunswept by Lexi Long, and I'm hearing some of those familiar singer-songwriter elements from the cozier, simpler times, what would some of those artists be? What am I hearing that sounds so familiar?
I like guitar, and I'm speaking acoustic guitar, driven tracks. So that's why all the songs on the album are written on acoustic guitar, because I like just that purity of, yes, you can get it mixed and mastered, but the song itself can just be, you could be busking somewhere and you could just do the song. So when I listen to music like that, just any folk driven singer-songwriter artist from the mid late 60s to the 70s and on. So of course, given the hair, Joni Mitchell.
But at the same time, I'm hearing Crosby, Stills and Nash. You know?
Right.
I'm hearing Carole King. I'm hearing a lot of that, the cozy coffee house, organic, authentic singer-songwriter vibe.
Right.
Circa 1970. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
Okay.
Yes.
So those were some of the artists. You tend to shy away from pointing specifically to too many specific influences.
Right.
However, as a consumer of your music, I can step back and go, oh, boom, 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 Crosby, Stills and Nash. Maria Maldar, maybe
Never
even
heard of her, but whoa, she influenced me.
maybe a splash of
Cookie.
oh, we're making cookies. All right. Maybe a splash of Bonnie Raitt in that record. And then,
Splash of flour.
now, what are we doing? Are you gonna beat the batter?
Beat the batter. I didn't wear my rings so that I could get in there and knead it, but first things first.
Do we use this? When do we use this? This is really fun. Do we get to use this today?
We will. Yeah, Baker.
But not now. Do we get to break eggs?
I think one
Let
egg
me.
yolk. Yes.
Can I break an egg?
Yeah. And a teaspoon. What is it? 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So we do the dry ingredients first to get that all together. Dump in the butter, I suppose. It's been softening for quite some time.
So tell me about how you got started playing. We're in Brevard County, Florida today,
Yes.
but you're not from Brevard County originally, but you've been here long enough that you might as well have been here originally. Is
Right.
that safe to say?
Exactly.
How did you get involved in being part of the live music scene? Where did that story begin? How did you discover that you even had a passion for performing live music and
Right,
all of that?
right.
Break that down for me.
Well, I played and wrote
Are we
here
gonna
and there.
mix this up?
We have to add butter with sugar. I wrote songs as a younger teenager, did the talent show freshman year, sophomore year I won, which was a nice shining 15 minutes of fame for a song on the ukulele. And then after that I got second place doing guitar, so that was really just my grand performing history.
May I?
Go ahead. In high school. But then college comes around. I'm in a band called Honey Yuck, where we both shared Hannah Burgett.
It was a duo,
Yes,
correct?
Yes. So I was in a little band then.
And where was this?
This was in a mix between Tallahassee and here in Melbourne area.
This is during your college experience.
Exactly.
And who was involved with you in Honey Yuck?
The duo was just me and Hannah Burgett, who was my high school friend.
So you and Hannah, you both had at that time a passion for writing songs and performing, is that right?
Writing, yes. Performing, I don't know. Performing was, we weren't kids that were out there all the time playing in front of people. We did little things here and there. So
you were approaching it yet at that point a little more casually. It had not really
yes.
consumed you.
Right. We like to write, so that's a whole.
So Hannah was a good partner for you early on in developing your skills and your passion and so on. Would that be correct?
Exactly.
And then you get out of college, so now you've got some live performing experiences as a young artist, and then some experiences with your duo Honey Yuck, and then you get out of college and you are ready to really launch the Lexi Long music enterprise fully.
No.
No. Well, tell us then.
Well, I went to college to get the job that I signed up for, which is still speech language pathology. So
What does that mean?
If you've heard, go to your speech therapist.
Okay.
You know, working with children. Of course, nowadays it can be very adult based as well, but I always just worked pediatrics. So private practices, speech therapy, full time, going into part time. But that was my gig. But all the while I was writing songs about my experiences in life, and it culminated to where I did not want to not record them properly. So that started the whole journey with Pete.
Pete, your producer of your album Sunswept.
Right.
Because you had recorded and released some, we'll say, more lo-fi recordings on your Bandcamp before you released Sunswept. Is that correct?
Yes, those are now in the Bandcamp graveyard in my personal possession.
So all we're going to find now on your Bandcamp is your new record, your current record, Sunswept. That's correct?
Right.
And so now you're getting some press, media is noticing your record, paying attention, talking about it. You're out playing, doing more and more shows. Where have you been playing recently, and where are you headed?
So I got hooked up with our local record store owner, Snap of Savvy Vinyl Records. I came in and I listened to my test pressing in her record studio, or record
store
shop,
right.
record store, of course. So she was automatically nice to me and just let me listen to it on her little turntable, and she gave me
Savvy Vinyl, that's a record store in the Melbourne, Florida area.
Correct.
So we love Savvy Vinyl Records. They were great early supporters of your record Sunswept, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And you played there. Your album release party was there, I think. Am I right?
Right. Right. So that was the debut, as you could call it, with my band. So my band is a rotation of drummers that I know, whoever can swing it. But Brian Gardner, who did the album, is the drummer for at least one of my shows. I've had a different drummer for every show, so let's just
It's like
put it
Spinal
that way.
Tap.
Yes.
You ever see Spinal Tap?
Of course.
As long as yours aren't exploding, then you're all right. It is December right now, December 6, 2024. We are getting psyched for endless possibilities in the new year, 2025. So what does that look like for Lexi Long? Where are you playing right now? And where are we going in this crazy music crusade?
I played in Melbourne, then a few weeks later I played in Orlando at Binks, which is a little downtown record store venue spot, and then after that I played in Tallahassee at Real Cool Time Records. So the tour alone was record stores, which was my dream. So I thought that I could just do record stores in Florida for the foreseeable months, but it turns out those were the best and the only ones really that were like venues as well as record stores. So now I'm reaching out to venues, and they are rolling out the red carpet, hoping they want to talk to me and see me play. Yep, so where does 2025 lead? I will be busking in public and hoping that people get back to me.
You're better off busking. At least you're not having to pay for production and paying off an agent and all the other things that come along. I don't think that the live performance experience is the same for young artists right now. Back in my day, back in 1980 whatever, when I was doing it, it just seems like the interest level, the venues, the age, just everybody involved from the audience up to the business people. It was just different than it is now.
Right.
And I think I like the way that you have a very stripped down sort of essential bare bones approach to playing live. It's either you solo or it's you with 2 or 3 others as an accompaniment. And I think that allows the beauty of your songs to shine even brighter. And I think that also might allow a little more ease for performing less. You can do it on a smaller stage, a smaller event. Less is more. It seems like it might make things a little easier for you and allow you to shine brighter as a live artist.
It's letting me ease into performing again. If you get a bigger venue that says we could book you tomorrow, the band and I need to get back together and learn. They need to learn more songs so that it's a full thing. So that'll be happening in the next few months. Is just working a lot with the band and getting those 15, 20 songs, ready to go, so that we don't have to take any breaks while playing and just knock it out.
Is this greased down now?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe you can make cookie shapes with one.
Excellent.
And I can make.
Now, will we have any cookie little presses, or are we going
wish.
to so it's not going to be Santa's face?
Right.
So we're going for round.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then maybe push it down a little, and then we'll put the M&Ms.
Of course we will. Tell me about the record. What are our best songs on Sunswept for you?
The best song, my favorite song is Book of Your Life, because it's about me wanting to write more exciting chapters for the future. So that's what that one's about. So that's just looking on to the next album. I'm just always looking on to the future. So.
And you are right on that one. That is one of my favorites as well.
Thank
also, let's not rule out Good Girl. Can you tell me about Good Girl?
Good Girl is a term that people have always called me in moments of doing what I'm supposed to do. So this song's about wanting to do things that are not necessarily expected of you.
All right, now this is the one I really wanted to talk to you about. This is my first. Sometimes lovers, barely friends. I can see the movie. I've listened to your record probably 80 times, okay? I listen to that song over and over, and I can see the movie playing out, or my own version of the movie playing out in my mind. Can you tell me how authentically autobiographical is that? Tell me something really juicy about that.
Some juicy lore.
And we are talking about, where is it? Right here. Sometimes lovers, barely friends.
Mm-hmm. Well, that song is written about my college days when I would spend a lot of time outside of gas stations with a certain individual, getting cigarette smoke blown in your face and thinking they're just the coolest. So as time goes on and you grow up and maybe don't spend as much time with certain people, you reminisce on the time and can see it without rose-colored glasses per se.
Somebody you thought you liked for a while and then discovered was maybe not quite so worthy of your affection?
Oh, to put it that way.
How about that?
Yeah, somebody that was a friend in a way.
Okay.
It's in the title.
Now, our opening, Sally's Blues, that could be a great little movie also. Tell me about Sally's Blues.
Sally's Blues. Well, it is a movie already, but a documentary movie called Killer Sally, where she is a female bodybuilder looking gal with a family, but she's always run into
Look at this.
bad situations.
These are perfect.
I feel like we should just do one round.
Let's
and
do one round. Let's see what happens. We're going to push them down a little bit, right?
Yes, I think
May
so.
I?
Yes. Oh, they have that kind of crinkly effect.
It's Christmas Crinkle.
But yes, the song Sally's Blues is based on a real lady, but you know, sometimes for rhyming purposes, maybe I did not get the story already right. Sure.
So that was real life, but in that case, not your real life.
Right.
Would that be accurate?
Right. Exactly, precious.
This is so much fun.
Beautiful.
Okay, we're gonna put these in the oven, right?
Mm-hmm. Back in. Here, I got some real hot ones.
There we go. Oh boy, we love Christmas cookies. All right, we have another one of those. Okay, those look beautiful. Did we get to look at these beautiful cookies before they went in? Now, we got to jump back in over here and
We've
get
got
this.
some more to go.
Okay, we were talking about your songs and what some of the best ones are, although it's really difficult to say what the best, but just what speaks to you most as the writer, as the artist. A couple that spoke to me as the consumer, as the Uber fanboy.
Uh-huh.
And where do we go from here? You're looking at new venues, new places for performing live as we come into the new year.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to continue working Sunswept diligently 100% for now? Or are we already going to start moving into other recording projects?
Right. I'm going to try to sell my copies of Sunswept because I have 300 of them. You know, we've sold over 50, but we're trying to sell them at the shows. So I'm trying to play some shows.
So you went with a significant run of vinyl copies of Sunswept, and you're out playing, and you're selling them, and you're moving some online. You still have some available. And so you were going to continue really focusing on that record into 2025.
Correct.
And maybe visit the thought of a new record a little bit later. We need to allow time for Sunswept to marinate and perhaps recoup some of its investment before
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. You're not wrong there.
But it's a beautiful record.
Thank you.
You did everything exactly right. And that's what I find so fascinating and appealing about you and your work, your art, your record. You seem to get everything right. You work with the best people and you get the best and brightest results from that. And your art, your stories are just incredible. Is that cool?
Thank you.
Can I say that to you? Come on,
Thank you.
right here. All right. So, backing up just a little bit. This, at first, this artist, this wonderful singer-songwriter, is such a weirdo because you're one of the young people, yet you have that older sort of sensibility. But this is not necessarily a new discovery. You've always been a little something of a square peg all the way back to your kindergarten, maybe. Tell me about that.
Well, it's...
What did this look like hanging out in kindergarten?
Kindergarten was a tiny, itty-bitty little person who might not have fit in properly, but, Yeah, I liked older music, so I just always liked older movies, older music.
So this would have been what then? Maybe 2001, 2002?
Early 2000s for sure.
When you're in kindergarten?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going in already with an interest, passion in older music, older literature, older movies.
Mm-hmm.
At 5, 6 years old, you're entering the school system as like a 6-year-old version of a 50-year-old. How does what kind of other students do you meet then? Are you finding others who shared your passions?
I always had a niche set of interests, which means that I enjoyed them alone.
Try
But
an
I
orange
did meet
I recommend the orange ones.
they're extra
Yeah,
special.
they're extra special. So were the other kids in line with you? Did they understand the stuff that you were into?
I mean, I didn't really talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It was just my thing.
Did you think they were weird? Did you know that you were the one weird, or did you think they were the weirdos?
I thought I was weird.
Really? That's good. That's a good place to be. Weird is okay. Are we still in our second 5 minutes here? That's been a long 5 minutes.
Yeah, we don't want them to burn.
It looks like we are still...
Yeah.
Oh. It looks like they might be browning nicely on the bottom, but they're still looking rather doughy up top.
So maybe you put a 2-minute timer.
We're trying to make these Christmas cookies. I think both of us are entering into this mission with minimal experiences.
This
Would
is
that be a
my
safe assumption?
Second or third time making
So we are
this.
going to see what happens. We have our first batch baking. We've got our second batch that's going to be ready to go. We're going to let them go in for 5 minutes and get nice and warm, and then apply our M&Ms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we feel good that this is a process that's working well for us?
I agree.
Okay. Okay, it's starting to smell like Christmas cookies around here. Okay, so now coming into the new year, you've got exciting plans to be out playing. Maybe we revisit this conversation in a year or so. Maybe we will already have a new record mapping out. But in the meantime, we're just going to kick maximum ass with 2025. And it's Lexi Long International Music Mission, guns blazing. And we're going to do shows, and we're going to promote your record and just be super famous and super awesome.
We'll see what fate has in store for me.
Yes, that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, well, thank you very much for letting me come into your kitchen today and talk about cookies and talk about rock and roll and to talk about your music and your amazing album, Sunswept. And we are revving right into the holiday season. It's Christmas 2024. Thanks for letting me share part of the holiday season with you. I'm Christopher Long. This is Face to Face. Lexi Long, no relation. We just both have really cool last names, but we are not real. I hope we're not related.
We're probably in the old English days.
Anyway, so have a great holiday season. Face to Face. Peace out.